Checking connection. Guys, I'm just starting this video on a couple of different devices at once so that I can film it for you and make sure it's in every possible different place. Okay, so we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram and YouTube at the same time. All right, so the reason I'm doing this video, and I want to start it by saying I'm not a Facebook ads expert, but I have spent over $10,000 US to date so far learning about this stuff, learning about the back end. So what I want to be able to do with you today is save you time and effort and money and help you to understand what to ask your person, your marketing person, your Facebook ads expert, what you really need to be able to understand, because you don't need to have to understand all of it to do the back end of it yourself, but it's very simple when they explain it to you properly what they're actually doing, because what you need to understand is what it's costing you to acquire a client. What is it costing you to get, not just to get the client through the door, but for you to actually get that client, for example, doing your 12-week challenge. And there are so many fitness professionals that I speak to who are, throwing money at marketing people that might be a one-off person or it might be an agency, and they don't understand this process. And I think it's really important that not only the people in the back end that are running things they're transparent with you, but they also know what to ask. Because why would you have a business and not understand the statistics in the background? It doesn't mean that you need to spend the time on the computer and do the back end. It's just that you need to know what to ask. And I'm going to show you some stuff so that you know what to ask. And if the person can't tell you clearly in quite detailed manner and have you understand it, then maybe they're not the right person for you to be using. And don't be afraid of asking. Just ask 2 or 3 times until it gets explained in a different way, because generally coaches, we are kinesthetic people, really good at running a business, face to face, and we don't understand the back end, but that's okay. It doesn't mean you have to be scared of these statistics or anything. I'm not a statistics or an Excel spreadsheet person by any means, and I can understand the back end, so if I can do it, you can do it as well. Okay, so what you need to measure is, you don't really need to measure the technical back end of CPC and opt-in rates and that stuff, but the person who's running the ad for you does need to understand that. So, for example, CPC just means cost per click. Now, in the back end of Facebook ads, there's a lot of data in there, and it's their job to understand that. And I'm going to show you another presentation in a second of the parts that you need to understand, which is just converting the client and getting them over to 12 weeks or whatever it is that you do. Now, you do need to as well make sure you capture the lead's details. What am I talking about? The person's details, and not just their email address. You need their phone number if they're going to opt in for something. Let's say they're coming to do a 3 weeks trial, and I'm saying that because that's generally a better example to get somebody through the door, because you want them through the door, you want them exposed to you. It doesn't mean doesn't mean you have to have a physical 4 walls. It could be boot camp. So I don't mean literally through the door. I mean into your business. I want them to get in front of you, because once they get in front of you, you're more likely to convert them, right? You're probably really good at that part. So sorry if I'm not looking over here at the camera, it's because I'm looking at the other camera, and if you want the real live version, it'll be on Facebook or YouTube later. So make sure you get their phone number. Now, the lead does what? We're presuming that they're going to come in for a visit or they're going to do a trial. If you're running ads and you're doing an ad directly to a buy my 12-week challenge, or some kind of ad that says buy my stuff, expect to pay a lot of money, because one, you may be hitting people that don't know who you are. So it's like going in cold and throwing your brochures at people. That stuff, it worked 5 to 7 years ago. It doesn't really work anymore, because people are saturated with marketing now. So you better build an audience. So get them in for a free trial, get them to experience some of your stuff, be running ads for them to experience your stuff, and get them in softly, in other words, some kind of trial. Now, then you want to look at the percentage of those people that do the trial, what percentage do you convert to a client, then you have the dollars that it actually costs you to get the client. Now, if you're a bit of a visual person, which I am, so I had to redraw this for myself as if I was doing up an Excel spreadsheet, so I've done this. Now I have to say, I did say Excel spreadsheet is not my language, and it's not. Rather draw a pretty picture. So here's what you might be spending. Now this is what the marketing professional needs to know. So whoever you're paying to do the back end of Facebook ads, they need to be able to justify and explain everything that's going on in here to you. What are they spending? And what are you spending on advertising? So you'll be paying them as the professional, and then you'll also be throwing money at getting people through the door. Let's say, for example, because somebody that I literally spoke to today has spent $100 and she's got literally 2 people's details. Now, the problem with that, oops, you can't actually see that. So she's spent $100, she's got 2 people. If she got those 2 people through the door and one of them became a client, we know it costs her $100 to get the client. That makes very logical sense, doesn't it? But she didn't understand any of these statistics. You have to know what you're spending. Makes sense. Now, unfortunately for her, whoever's run her ads didn't actually get people's phone numbers. And I know that if someone emails me, the chances of me replying are sometimes slim, sometimes I do, but sometimes there's so many emails there I miss it because there's 50 that turn up every hour. Probably like your inbox, right? So please don't rely on the fact that you might have the person's email address. Anyway, they need to get their details, but we talked about that. So what details are they going to get? Make sure you get their phone number, because it's just crazy to not get their phone number. Now, it's your job to make sure they get the details, but it's also your job to get them from the details to in the door. So if I was going to draw up an Excel spreadsheet and I was tracking who was coming into the door, it would be the marketing person's stuff over here, and this would be your part of the spreadsheet. What are the people's details? And in between here, this part here is who's contacted them, how many times have we called them, what time did we call them, what did they say, all the marketing stuff that goes behind phone calls. Then you've got the people in the door. What percentage of them did you get in the door? Let's say you've got 50 people's details. Let's say you've spent 500, you've got 50 people's details, but you're only getting 25 of them in the door, and you're only converting 20. Well, maybe I shouldn't have done that because I'm really not very good at maths. But do you see what I'm talking about? Actually, you can't see it because there's a little bit of glare on the board. But it's very easy to do the statistics. Now, I could do this if I had a calculator. Feel free to put the details underneath wherever you're seeing this video for me. And I'm also going to give you another giveaway at the end of this video as well. But you can see that we've got 20 of those people in the door. Oh, hang on, to 20 become a client. See, maybe 10 became a client. Let's make it a nice round number. 10 of them became a client. If you've spent $500, I can do that. That math's $50. So it costs you $50 to get a client. Now, that person who's a client, what did they purchase? Did they buy 12 weeks? Let's say, for example, they bought 12 weeks. It was $500, which is quite cheap. And we all know that if you're a good coach, that person's going to stay longer than 12 weeks anyway, right? But, you know, I don't need to teach you that. Make sense? That's what you need to know in a rough outline. Please, guys, if you know any coaches that are possibly being ripped off by marketing people at the moment, share this video with them, or just maybe it's a coach or maybe it's yourself and you didn't understand and you found this video useful. Please share it or like it, comment below wherever you're seeing this video. I'm also going to make sure that underneath this video is a link to a free 2019 marketing calendar. Now, if you're watching this at a later date, this calendar is applicable to most years, most countries, most states, and there's also a section in there for you to build it month by month based on the niche and the passions that you have. It is for the community and online all at the same time, and it is presuming that you have $0 to spend on ads, because it's super important to get known in the community as well as online, and you can do both at the same time. And you can do it with very little spending budget for advertising, because most people start there. Anyway, if you found it useful, please press thumbs up, subscribe to the channel from wherever you're watching it, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks, guys. Let's turn all these